Today we're talking about the 7Artisans adapter for adapting your Canon EF and EF-S lenses to your Sony E Mount camera. It's not a bad thing, but I have a few thoughts. Now, Canon have some great lenses in their EF-S and EF lineup. After all, they've been making these lenses for a number of years and have a deep and wide and really varied library of Canon camera lenses. But what happens if you shoot on Sony? Sony have some great lenses as well, but in my experience, Sony lenses are so very, very expensive. But I have Canon lenses and I shoot on a Canon camera. Can these be adapted to the Sony E Mount? Well, they can. If you're new here, I'm Darren, I'm Creator61, and I love APS-C sensor cameras. I own the Canon R50 and I own the Sony ZV-E10, and I'm really still tossing up between which is a better camera. But today we're talking about this adapter on the Sony ZV-E10, adapting your Canon lenses to your Sony ZV-E10. And 7Artisans make top quality products at affordable prices. And who doesn't like saving a little bit of money these days? Photography is a very expensive hobby. I have over 40 lenses in my collection, and this collection continues to grow. So what is this? This little ring here, it doesn't have any glass in it like a speed booster. What have we got? We have a flange that will suit a Sony E mount, and that on the other end is a flange that will take EF or EF-S lenses. Plus, we have the pins that our EF-S lenses will use to talk to the camera, and that has been converted to the pins and the location on the Sony E mount. And this takes Canon's 8 pins and turns it into Sony's 10 pins so the lens and the camera can talk to one another. There is a micro USB port in here for updating firmware. Unlike other adapters, this adapter does definitely have some electronics in there. So it will talk to the autofocus functions of your lenses and that of the camera. This is an all-metal construction and has quality brass bayonet fittings for both the EF and EF-S lenses and the Sony E mount end. And on this adapter there is a little CP button right there, but it is really flat, so it is difficult to work out whether it is engaged or not engaged. And more on what the CP button does later on. Why would you adapt Canon lenses to a Sony camera? In my experience, Sony lenses are quite expensive, generally about another quarter to another third in price for an equivalent Canon lens. For example, the 50mm lens is around $250, whereas for the Canon EF, it's around $200. So there's a little bit of a saving there. What you could do is use an adapted lens to try out a focal range and see if you like that focal range, and then maybe purchase the Sony equivalent later on down the track. And of course, lenses on the second-hand market can be found quite cheaply. This one here is the Plastic Fantastic, the Nifty 50, a well-renowned lens for the Canon EF mount. This one I picked up for $60. An absolute bargain, an absolute steal at that price on the second-hand market, and it is a good copy too. So I can test this lens on the Sony E mount to see if the 50mm focal range is suitable to my needs. One thing you do need to do with this, and it is generally a good thing to do anyway, is make sure that your camera is off when you are connecting any lens. Connect your Canon lens to the adapter and then connect all of that to your Sony camera with a reassuring click to know that the camera and the lens are properly attached. As I said before, that CP button, the CP button is your focus lock button. So you will need to depress that button to lock your focus. Fast focus is achievable with Canon lenses on your Sony camera. For example, on the ZV-E10, it is like it is a native lens. And I was amazed to see that eye tracking works perfectly. Now, I have had lenses do a little bit of focus hunting, and that's where the lens can't quite focus on any one particular thing. And it will just zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. And all you need to do to fix that is to turn the camera off, then turn it back on, and everything seems to work well after that. It seems to remedy the situation in my experience. And I said before that when locking the lenses onto the camera and even onto the adapter, you want to make sure that there is a reassuring click. I did this once and the lens wasn't working and I couldn't understand why. And I hadn't quite locked the lens down onto the camera. So just something to be aware of. Make sure that you have that reassuring click when you lock your adapter with the lens onto your camera. And 7Artisans is a quality Chinese manufacturer. They started off making fast prime lenses for mirrorless cameras, and the company was founded in 2015. In my experience, they provide great quality equipment for budget shooters, and you can be rest assured that lenses from 7Artisans are top quality. Now, as you know, the adapted Canon lenses can provide great value for money, but also another great lens on the Sony E Mount is the Sigma 18 to 50mm lens. It's a great kit lens replacement, so check out this video here.